right. Hi, my name is Amy Bailey, and I'm a program coordinator for Safe States Alliance. Today, I am joined by Tyler Meenach from the Hamilton County Public Health Department in Cincinnati, Ohio, to discuss his Partnership in Action Seed Grant project. So before I hand things over to Tyler, I wanted to give a short background about the Seed Grant project. Safe States Alliance released two guidebooks, Preparing to Partner, or as we refer to it, Prepare, and Strengthening Partnerships Between Business and Public Health, a roadmap for advancing community injury and violence prevention, which we refer to as the roadmap, to provide partners with guidance, tools, and case studies for building and sustaining public-private partnerships. Tyler's project was one of 3 seed grants awarded grantees who are awarded funding to use the tool and showcase the translation of best practices into real-world settings. Hamilton County Public Health used the Perform section of the roadmap as a guide to build on previously identified goals and priority areas to determine the activities and roles partners will play within their collaboration. So with that background, I'll turn it over to Tyler to introduce himself and provide a short summary of his project. Tyler?
Hello, Amy, and hello, everyone else. So my name is Tyler Meenach, and I am a health coordinator here with Hamilton County Public Health, and I operate the Recovery Friendly Hamilton County program. A little bit of background about me. My professional history lies predominantly in correctional rehabilitation. So I spent the first approximately 10 years of my career doing cognitive behavioral therapy in group settings in various institutions, jails, prison, and the like. So this was something of a transition for me coming to public health, but I worked predominantly with dual diagnosis clients. So the world of substance use disorder and recovery was very important to me, and I'm happy to carry that forward with my career now. So at Hamilton County Public Health, as I said, I run a program called Recovery Friendly Hamilton County. And Recovery Friendly Hamilton County is a multi-pronged program and anti-stigma campaign. And as the name implies, my reach really only extends throughout Hamilton County, which is the county seat of Cincinnati, Ohio. We provide our businesses, the partners that we make in the community, with a formal designation as being official recovery-friendly workplaces for meeting our stipulations and for helping to promote anti-stigma and promote resources within their workplaces to address substance use disorder among their base of employees. So we really go in and we blanket primarily human resource departments with a host of resources to help them move along what we call the recovery-friendly continuum. And those resources range from things like linkage to care for their employees. We actually have a dedicated 24-hour hotline via a partner that we contract with. We offer guidance via training. We actually even have a recruitment board where people can post their jobs and signify that they're recovery friendly to the job seeking public. And then more important to the discussion here today, we also recently devised a policy guide for best in-class procedures related to substance use disorder and recovery in the workplace. And we're able to disseminate to all of our designees that really great document totally free of charge. So that's a little bit of background on the program. I really think of my job, if I had to put it into a nutshell, as being sort of like a liaison between the world of business and the world of treatment within Cincinnati, Ohio. And I just want everybody to know, even though this all sounds magical and terrific, it is not something that I just concocted in my head overnight. We are based on a model that started in the state of New Hampshire back in 2018. And that model has become very popular and has been replicated all across the country at this point. I think there are over 30 entities at either the state, local level that are doing similar work to what we're doing. But I think we're really on the progressive end when it comes to these policies.
That's great. And I know you work to do a scan of the environment to see what policies are out there, which is a really big part of Perform in the roadmap. As you're looking at those goals and you're trying to set your policies, looking at those pieces. So when you are working with your partners outside of your agency to create your policy, what was a big aha moment for you when working with them?
Yeah, so I want to start off by giving a shout out to the people that we did work with. They're terrific. Shonda Sullivan with Advanced HR Consulting, and then Matt Rich, who is with Katz Teller, a law firm here locally. Both of them are highly professional, very thorough, and very circumspect. So I really appreciate their judgment because they're trying to attack these policies with a couple of different angles in mind. Number one, they're being considerate and empathetic towards people who are struggling from substance use disorder and recognizing that the current medical understanding of substance use disorder is that it is a disease that affects the brain and affects behavior, but then also looking at it from the angle of protecting the company and their assets and understanding that because addiction is a disease that affects behavior, certain behaviors obviously can reap very negative results for companies. So they did a lot of great work. And I think the big aha moment is when primarily the HR consultant was, scouring the country for all those best in-class practices to kind of get an idea of what the gold standard is. We found that it doesn't necessarily exist. And we really had to kind of invent the wheel, so to speak, with certain aspects of our policy. There are a lot of great templates out there, but they're all very generic. And I think that what we did was make something very robust and highly detailed that our companies can use to determine where they're at and where they want to be. I think that the reason predominantly why there aren't so many gold standard templates out there is that people might just be a little bit worried about, how far do we take this, and what kind of impact will it have on our industry. So I would say that was the big aha moment is, hey, there's really not a lot of this out here. We're kind of getting into some novel territory here with these policies.
That can be such a huge undertaking, and it can
Hmm.
be really overwhelming, I feel like, for
Yeah,
organizations when there's no model policy or no gold standard out there.
right.
And you and your team have really done a great job in breaking down this process into manageable steps, and
Hmm.
so that you can move your policy forward.
Right.
So when you were working on your project, we all experience challenges
Yeah.
when we're going through this process. What is an example of a challenge that came up, and how did you overcome that challenge?
Yeah, so I would say the first challenge just harkens back to my last statement about, there being kind of a paucity of information out there. There's not a whole lot to work with, but thankfully I contracted, excuse me, with some really great people who were able to kind of go back and forth between the HR lens and the employment lawyer lens to make sure that everything they were writing, even if it was a bit novel, was still able to protect the company. It can be progressive, but it's also balanced with that concern and consideration for the company. I think the other kind of trouble area that we came across is at Hamilton County Public Health. We're a government organization, and more than that, we're a public health entity. So we have to be really careful about our optics when we're publishing a document like this. And we had to make sure that we were able to find some common ground with these policies, because if we're going to be the one who purveys them, it really behooves us to, be able to be more recovery friendly ourselves and have a look at our own policies. So, thankfully, those are still things that are being evaluated, and we've kind of worked together to publish a document that everybody feels comfortable with.
That's wonderful. And again, I feel like that's such a big challenge when you're looking at policy.
Hmm.
There are so many steps in the process of, you know, determining how you're going to help your partners as
Right,
well as internally reflect what you're putting out there. And so
right.
that's a really great reflection. So what advice would you have for partners who are working on new policy? I feel like policy can sometimes be challenging for public health professionals. What
Hmm.
kind of advice would you give folks working on policy?
Yeah, I would say really have some humility around the concept of devising new policies, because no matter how far you think you're moving the dial, don't harbor any delusions about what you're coming up with being like the long-standing final resting spot. laws at the federal level, the local level, the state level are always changing, always evolving, and social mores and just kind of general customs change over time too. I mean, in this country, we're looking at kind of a new age when it comes to things like marijuana. It's gradually being legalized across the country, and that is kind of shifting the game a little bit when it comes to policy. And that was a big area of contention with what we were developing, is just thinking about these changes as they occur on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. So I would say the big thing to keep in mind is just always refer to your policies and think of them as being these living, dynamic documents that are going to change over time as those customs evolve. Because if you're going to promote this as being like, hey, this is your best standard, well, it's the best standard for today. It's not necessarily the best standard for tomorrow or the year after that.
That is a really great piece of advice. And I think that that is a great piece of advice for all aspects of public health, is to have that flexibility and to be able to, pivot when things come up.
Right.
Well, thank you so much, Tyler. This has been really wonderful. We've enjoyed having you as one of our seed grantees. And thank you for providing us today with some insight and how you work to move your policy forward.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.